Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, breaking down the Alabama quarterback battle. This really is the most important storyline heading into college football. Like, make no mistake about it. I know Alabama had a disappointing 2022 season. This is a team that can win a national title in 2023. They got one of the most talented teams in football. Nick Saban's still the coach. And if they get some solid quarterback play, I'm not saying it doesn't need to be Bryce Young. It needs to just be quality quarterback play. This Alabama team can certainly win a national title. Going to be breaking down the three options, what they bring to this offense. Now, before we do again, just want to say thank you to you guys rocking with us all off season long. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Quite frankly, don't care if you subscribe to the channel or not. I want to hear from you guys who you think should be the starting quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I truly mean this when I say it. The best part about doing this is hearing from you guys, chopping it up with you guys in the comment section. So drop your not only predictions, but who you want to see as the starting quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide heading into 2023. We'll chop it up there. Dylan, I'm going to kick this one off to you. Early reads on this Alabama quarterback battle where there's not many things to have reads on because Nick Saban hasn't really said much.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I think anyone who says they have a read on it is kind of lying because you just don't – I don't know how you would really know. You've seen the two guys play in Milroe and Buchner a little bit. Obviously have had their struggles at times. You really don't know what you got from Ty Simpson. But frankly, I think the one thing you do know is that Nick Saban's going back to like pre-2015 Nick Saban, where if these quarterbacks are turning the football over, you risk your season being over very quick. I think he wants mistake-free football. I think he wants to run the ball physically. And that's, I think, the identity he's looking for from this team, which, again, I think he's acknowledged they've gotten away from as they've had some really good quarterbacks in Tua and Bryce Young. So I think you're going to go back to that. But again, from there, I don't know how you project this because you just haven't seen enough from anyone.
That is exactly what Nick Saban's like. Every time Nick Saban's asked about this quarterback battles, winning football to him is not playing losing football, not turning the ball over, making the throws you got to make. I think he knows there's no Bryce Young walking in this quarterback room taking snaps week one. That being said, he knows that the other guys around him are going to have to step up, and they certainly do have the talent around this quarterback that we'll touch on to really have a solid offense in 2023. I guess what we'll do to break down these three quarterbacks is a little pitch competition. I did this in high school. I got like last place in a business class for pitching my future business. We're going to pitch these three quarterbacks, and I'll kick it off to you. You can choose which quarterback you want to start with. Give me a 30-second pitch on why that quarterback should be the starting quarterback for Alabama in 2023.
I mean, to me, the one that almost stands out is Tyler Buchner. He came in with Tommy Rees. They know each other. I feel like almost like Tommy Rees kind of said, like, let's go get this guy. I think I can win with them. Or at least that's the impression. Obviously, I don't know anything. I'm not an insider, but that's the impression you get is this is my guy. I know who he is. I know we can win with him with the talent around him. So that to me feels like the hunch or pitch you would make for Tyler Buchner. But the problem is you didn't really see good enough football last year or the year before. So
the pitch for, I would echo that. And I would even take it a step further and saying, okay, after spring practice, Tommy Rees felt the need. Tommy Rees, when he was at Notre Dame, felt the need to go out and go get Sam Hartman, and which kind of tells you how he thinks about Tyler Buchner. And then after the spring practice, he goes out and gets Tyler Buchner. The pitch for Tyler Buchner would be, hey, what we saw in spring practice with Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe left a little bit to be desired. We're going to go out and get Tyler Buchner, who I think can be kind of this quarterback one. Now, they could have just added him for some quarterback competition and some depth. That's for sure. That being said, there's also that ability to read that in. I'll give you the next one. Jalen Milroe. Pitch me on Jalen Milroe.
I mean, his is if you're really going to go back to just running the football like 70% of the time on offense, he's the guy who, again, he'll add some dynamism to that offense in the rushing attack. Because you look, I mean, that athleticism it's quite a bit notches higher than these other two, and these guys can move a little bit. The problem is Jalen Milroe, you did see last year, he did turn the ball over a lot. I mean, 5 times the amount he played that's a lot of turning the football over. And also just the passing game needs to get better. And that, again, if he elevated that to an extent that Nick Saban's comfortable with, I think he might be the guy. But that's making a lot of assumptions that you didn't necessarily see bear out on the field.
I can get with that pitch. Bonus points for making up a word, dynamism.
Oh,
Love
that's not
that. I kind of going off what you said for Jalen Milroe, and my pitch is I think he has the highest upside of these quarterbacks. Like if and what you saw last year was not enough, but if you assume he makes a step, he's still a young quarterback, right? Only going into his third year of college football. If he takes a step and you talk about which quarterback does this offense have the highest ceiling with, I think it's Jalen Milroe and what he can do with his legs. And if he just comes along as a passer, make the basic throws, make the basic reads, I do think he probably provides the most playmaking ability and most upside for this Alabama offense, which leaves us to the young gun, Ty Simpson. Pitch us.
I mean, it's almost like a process of elimination. The problem is with the other two is you've seen them turn the ball over a heck of a lot for the amount of volume they're kind of producing, if you will. So Ty Simpson, again, that doesn't mean he doesn't turn the ball over either, but you don't know that he does. And who knows? Like, obviously, coming out very talented player, as all these guys are. I mean, they're all big time recruits. They all have their abilities, but for Ty Simpson, there is an element like you have seen these other two guys play, and it's not quite the level I think you need to go in a national title. And if Ty Simpson can give him that, it's his job.
That is worth noting. Don't get caught up in this like Alabama screwed at quarterback. There are like 85% of these teams in the FBS, I think, would take this Alabama quarterback room over what they have. And so it's like as much as they're like, oh, Alabama doesn't have an answer, like that's getting amplified because you just saw Bryce Young just absolutely be one of the best, if not the best quarterback we've seen in the last decade for Alabama. So it's like they're not in that bad of a spot as the national media likes to paint. Now, Ty Simpson, I do agree. Like the argument for Ty Simpson is what you saw from Jalen Milroe last year, especially against Texas A&M. Just it wasn't enough. Like that offense was moving the ball, and when they handed the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs, and if Jalen Milroe could create outside the pocket. But when it came to operating an offense, Jalen Milroe didn't have that. Quite frankly, you can say the same thing for Tyler Buchner on 800 or 118. I read my notes long. On 118 pass attempts, he's thrown 8 interceptions. Like that is not very good at taking care of the football. So process of elimination, like you said, Ty Simpson is the guy that you don't know if he doesn't turn it over, but at least you know, like you kind of know Milroe and Buchner struggle with it in the past. So I guess with that having been said, your pick to win this quarterback battle, having absolutely no information on who's leading.
Honestly, my hunch is Jalen Milroe. I mean,
he was taking the reps.
He technically beat out Ty Simpson last year. Now, that doesn't mean it can change. Obviously, we saw Tua kind of get beat out by Jalen Hurts, and then the next year he developed into taking that job. So it's not to say that can't change. I just think the way they want to play this game is they want to be physical. They want to run the football. You know, Jalen Milroe is a very good athlete, and I just got to think he develops into – again, it's not. I don't think it's that he can't throw the ball. It's like you don't come out as the recruit he was if you're got nothing kind of there. I think he can take some steps. I think he's just got to be a decent thrower. I think he can do that. I think it's his job to lose would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean that's probably where you are because you have a Tyler Buchner who transferred in after spring practice, so he's probably slated at last. You know, I mean he's got to make up some ground, and then obviously Jalen Milroe was starting over Ty Simpson when Bryce Young went down last year. I think my pick is Ty Simpson. I watched the A&M game a couple times trying to get a feel for Jalen Milroe, and I just was not that impressed with his ability to operate an offense. I think Ty Simpson being a true freshman last year, I don't think Nick Saban wanted to throw him into that spot. I'm trusting development and the guy that's just, you ask me who can operate this offense at the highest level and be the most trustworthy, I'm probably leaning Ty Simpson here. Now, I do want to touch real quick on this Alabama offense and what it's going to look like. I feel like people aren't talking enough about the talent around the quarterback. Like, yeah, the quarterback is the biggest question, but you take a look at this offensive line. I think you have legitimately 4 or 5 guys who are going to be playing in the NFL, and most of them are going to be day one draft picks. This is going to be an elite group, and you said it best. Nick Saban wants to run the ball, be a little bit more physical. This is an offensive line that can certainly do that. And again, changing the scheme up a little bit more power scheme.
That's what I'm looking for is they were playing like East and West. And again, that was a little bit of Jimmy.
A lot of stretch zones.
But they didn't have their offensive linemen kind of going downhill on guys. And you look at a Tyler Buchner, I should say, you look at a J.C. Latham.
Yeah.
and Elijah Pritchett. These are big physical offensive linemen. That's always been who Nick Saban's recruited. Like, let them go play big physical bruising football. I felt like they were last year trying to play like they were the Oregon Ducks offensive line, a little more athletic, a little smaller. Like, go let them play the style that Tommy Rees wants to play, which is heavy, it's physical, and that I think it fits.
And I feel like that's the type of offensive lineman they recruit. Like they recruit the big dogs who can move bodies and get down. Like I think that scheme, getting back to a little bit more down block, a little bit more power, I think that's going to really help this Alabama offensive line take some steps. And again, that's a young group that I think will take some meaningful steps in 2023. And then to round it out, a really good running back room. I still am pounding the table for Justice Haynes as being that guy.
Oh, Jace McClellan's really good. I started watching some of these games back. I think he's got a little more power than he kind of looks in terms of his size.
I'm doing it again. I just fall for I follow too much recruiting, and then I see the 5-star flash guy, and I'm like, give me Justice, and you forget Jason McClellan.
Needs to get the ball. He needs to get it a lot, and I think he's going to be a very productive player if this offensive line can kind of be as good as we think in the scheme we think they're going to run.
And then in the pass catcher room, I'm looking for one of the young cats to step up. I think Ja'Cory Brooks is a solid wide receiver. Jermaine Burton, a really solid wide receiver. 2 solid receivers. Do we have any special wide receivers kind of stepping up? Because that has been lately for Alabama, the recipe has been elite wide receiver play. You look back, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, those guys were all elite wide receivers. Dill, I guess I'll ask you this before we wrap up. You're picking a wide receiver to make that step. Who's it going to be?
I'm looking for Isaiah Bond. Again, you saw the flashes last year. You just saw a guy, at least in my mind, who had that explosiveness, the ability to get in and out of breaks, get downfield and cook like you saw against Arkansas. I think he's got the special talent to kind of play more along the lines of how good a Jamison Williams was or how good those 4 were in the years 2 and Mac Jones were there. That was just a different level of play. And again, you're right. Jermaine Burton and Ja'Cory Brooks are good players, but they're not first-round talent. So I think Isaiah Bond might be that guy, and that's who I'm looking for to, again, I think just provide some playmaking ability for a quarterback room that I don't think you're going to be able to rely on to just make those pinpoint throws across the field.
2 things. One, I'm still not out on Ja'Cory Brooks. I still think he can take that step. I feel like we're treating him like he's a 5th-year guy. He's going into his 3rd year. So it's I think he can take that step. My pick, JUCO Malik Benson. Give me him all day. You love this story, under-recruited out of high school, tears it up at the JUCO ranks. You've heard a lot of good things out of fall practice from him and the spring ball period. I think I'm going with Malik Benson, but there's a lot of names Isaiah Bond.
Especially guys who can make plays with the ball in their hands, and that's why I'm kind of looking for an Isaiah Bond. I feel like he's got that explosiveness.
Yeah.
You mentioned with Malik Benson, a very, very good athlete. Because again, there's probably going to be an element you need these wide receivers to take a quick slant. If they have some space, they're going to need to take it and make a lot with it. Because you don't have Bryce Young to be able to make the throws that he was able to make last year that are just next level. I don't know that you're going to get that from any of these quarterbacks. So you are looking for some wideouts to be able to play with the ball in their hands, because that's probably going to be a fair amount of that position group's production.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, though, it's this offense is still really good. If they can get solid quarterback play, which, again, I trust. So you got 3 solid options. Nick Saban's going to figure it out.
I really think they're going to be really bad at quarterback. It feels like you get guys who just emerge out of nowhere.
They've done it before. They've won national titles.
Jacob Coker was a guy we never thought would emerge into somebody, and then he steps up, and you're like, man, this guy – again, not the greatest quarterback, A.J. McCarron, same guy, but a guy who's going to go win them football games because he's not going to make mistakes, and he's going to be there in the moments they need him.
It's kind of wild. Alabama's had more success with these kind of quarterbacks that are okay, they're not the Heisman Trophy first-round picks, but everyone else has to elevate their game. Maybe there's an element of that. So, again, the people sleeping on Alabama don't. This is still going to be a really good team in 2023. Appreciate you guys rocking with us again. Drop it in the comments who you think is winning this quarterback one job, who you want to see, and we'll chop it up there again. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.